Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn has refused to answer questions from the January 6th House Select Committee, pleading the Fifth.
Committee members believe Flynn has information about former President Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The committee subpoenaed Flynn last year over a meeting he reportedly attended with then President Trump in December of 2020. In the meeting, they apparently discussed seizing voting machines in states President Joe Biden won. The committee is also interested in Flynn's December 2020 comments suggesting implementing martial law.
CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us from Capitol Hill with the latest. Scott, I know you've been following this so closely day by day. As we just mentioned, Michael Flynn pleaded the Fifth yesterday before the January 6th House Committee. How much of an issue has this been for the committee? And what more can you tell us about how Flynn and some other witness depositions have been going?
Yeah, it's a big road and a long road for the House January 6th committee, but there are a number of roadblocks or potholes on that road as well. Michael Flynn is one of them. The first national security advisor for former President Trump, was national security advisor for a few weeks. But then at the end, the very end, the final weeks of former President Trump's administration, Flynn became a pivotal figure again. They have questions for him with this House committee, questions about what he was saying and what he was hearing in those pivotal weeks before the Capitol insurrection. But yesterday morning, he invoked his Fifth Amendment rights, according to his attorney. And his attorney tells CBS News, quote, "No implication of guilt should be drawn from Mr. Flynn's using the Fifth Amendment. But he's just the latest person, the latest key figure to defy or avoid questions from the House January 6th committee." There's the conspiracy theorist and media provocateur Alex Jones, who has tried to sue and block the handover of his phone records. Sebastian Gorka has done the same. Stephen Miller, the longtime Trump aide, has done the same, going to court to stop the handover of their phone records. This is the hurdle the House January 6th committee is facing from some of the highest profile would-be witnesses. They are getting some unambiguous forms of obstruction.
Scott, it's been 14 months since the attack on the Capitol, and only one case out of the hundreds has really gone to trial. It ended earlier this week. You were there. It was a guilty verdict. Do we have a timeline for some future trials? We know that the wheels of justice move slow, but why is it taking so long for this to move forward?
There's a bottleneck. All of these cases, 750 plus so far, are funneling into the same courthouse, the Washington, D.C. federal courthouse, which for months was closed to jurors due to COVID, and things are backing up. This is already the largest criminal investigation in U.S. history, and it is now promising to be one of the longest as well. The mob that came here January 6, 2021, motivated by their frustrations or protests of the 2020 election, they're going to be in this court system for years. One defense lawyer says some of these cases will move into the 2024 election cycle. There's just so much into a courthouse that has only so much bandwidth. And I was speaking with the girlfriend of fallen Capitol officer Brian Sicknick, who was assaulted January 6th and later died of natural causes. And she says the wait for justice, the wait for court appearances from defendants, it's painful for victims and victims' families, but they recognize the justice system tends to move slow. But in this context, at this moment, it's moving distinctively slow, and everybody has to manage expectations. You mentioned earlier, we saw the first trial in a Capitol riot case earlier this week. It could be many more weeks. It could be months until we see the next one.
Hopefully justice for the victims as soon as possible. Scott, we know you'll continue to follow this for us, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.